So warm welcome to everyone joining this deep diving session focusing on community engagement and regional development following the peer learning sessions in Cantabria. I'm Clémentine Deboeuf from Eurocities, and I'm just going to recap a little bit the context of this deep diving session, which is held in the framework of Cultural Heritage in Action. Cultural Heritage in Action is a peer learning program supported by the Creative Europe program of the European Union, which is implemented by Eurocities in partnership with various organizations that we have here represented today: ERIN, KEA, Europa Nostra, and the Architects Council of Europe. So as part of the project, we've organized 5 on-site peer learning sessions, which are all followed by the online deep diving session that you're attending now. So this one is about the fourth session that we've had in Cantabria in September. And without further ado, I will give the floor to the experts who were present on the visit. We have from the project Philippe Kern from KEA European Affairs, Francesca Pozzebon from ERIN, Levante Poliak, and Jose Hernandez, who will be guiding you through this session today. So Philippe, the floor is yours.
Sorry, I was muted. Just wanted to thank Clémentine for the introduction and say hello to everybody. Pleasure to be with you, even from distance. So now I'd like to ask you to close your eyes, to imagine yourself in the north of Spain, in a mountain, beautiful mountain, between 600 meters, 2000 meter high, very green, super green, rural area. Nice monasteries, old churches, cheese, jamon, nice place to enjoy life, to take it easy. And this is where we are going to travel this afternoon and look into how cultural heritage can contribute to development in a specific region, Cantabria, a small region of Spain. I think 500,000 inhabitants, 1% of the population, most of the inhabitants living in above 600 meters high, half of the population in Santander, the capital. So it's a very specific place where we're looking into how heritage can support economic development in those circumstances. There are so many places like this throughout Europe, in Alpine, Pyrenees, and regions, and Cantabria is a very good example of what can be done in this surrounding, in those landscape. So the idea is that initially in the program we will go back actually to Cantabria and the team that hosted us. I just want to introduce the session by interviewing Javier, who is a specialist of the region. And maybe by starting with a question on how much is culture and cultural heritage an important topic for regional development in Cantabria.
Well, thank you, Philippe, and thank you everyone, and to all of you that well, not just for sharing your precious time in this deep diving session, but also to be able to come to Cantabria, many of you, and see firsthand how we've been raising awareness of the intangible heritage and use it for the tangible heritage, the citizen participation, heritage education, and well, the social cohesion. Let's see, it looks like well, Pilar is sending me messages as she's trying to connect, but briefly I will tell you, well, that yes, Cantabria as a region, answering Philippe, is making a strong effort to use, not just to preserve the heritage, but to use it as a tool and be able to empower the region politics and strategies through the development or the common development in European projects where research and development is being done in cultural heritage topics. Some of the projects that have been done at the Center of Studies, Lebaniegos, they are like a really good example of how they contribute to give a positive impact in the community. In an isolated community, as Philippe was saying, and well, the old church of San Vicente, which was a ruin in Potes, well, through this process of preservation and of conservation, and it brought to the whole community of Liébana a place to gather, to a place for culture, and it's becoming a center not just to preserve the legacy of Beato de Liébana manuscripts and the medieval books that you could see, but also to gather a whole and a continuous program of activities in order to educate and give a cultural cultural content for the community, and not just the religious heritage, but also the natural heritage, and bringing culture to the people.
Thanks very much for the general introduction, Javier. Pilar, maybe the best is because you just arrived. Maybe you should introduce yourself, and in the same time introduce first hello to you. Good to see you. Introduce yourself and also the Centro de Estudios de Libanegos, because for us it was an example of good practice as an institution to support the culture and cultural heritage in the region. Pilar, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much to both, and thank you very much, Levente, for giving us so much, and all the team that came with you, and to share such an amount of things when we were together not that long ago, although it looks for me like a year ago already. Hello, a big warm welcome again, face to face, although digitally, to all the persons that were with us in Cantabria together with Javier, that we had a great moment here. And for those that we miss you guys, and then for those that are new, just to let you know, my name is Pilar Gómez Bahamonde, and I am director of this Centro de Estudios Lebaniegos that I'm sure Javier explained to you very wisely. And our duty in the mountainous area that we live in is to showcase the importance of heritage, as Javier was pointing out, cultural heritage, but religious heritage within the cultural heritage, and as well the natural heritage in which all the buildings are integrated, because buildings are not, they don't happen like that by casualty. Buildings are there with a purpose, and this has been happening in Europe. I know in all your countries, I'm sure in all your countries is the same thing. They build buildings in the perfect place for them, not in a studio, but on site. Then here we face that with the Centro de Estudios within the government of Cantabria, you see on the screen one of the rooms, like the principal room where all the exhibitions take place, and then as well events, many events for the rural area. We are like not yet 6,000 inhabitants in the whole mountainous area. And I can tell you that we give our best to bring all this community together towards art, culture, education, because it's very important, and not forgetting nature, the nature we live in. Then we work with different institutions, with different stakeholders that Levente and Francesca and many others had the opportunity to see themselves. Amongst these institutions, you can find organizations, associations, you can find like the local agency for developing rural areas. You can find also the monastery, because our history in this area is related to the traditions that come with the religious heritage. Therefore, though you see in the screen, sorry, in my phone, you see that it's a small church. The site that you're watching, it was a church. Now it's a cultural center. That's why when we got into this beautiful group that Levente and his team are working with, we wrote from Domus Dei, from the house of God in Latin, because it came from religious heritage, into Domus Populi, into the house of the people, because in the end, the building, which is magnificent, it's from the 14th century, it's a humble building. We have to think that we keep on our minds in a rural area, mountainous area. Then with the tools they had, they built these buildings that are long lasting, and then we reuse it. So the government of Cantabria took the lead in this sense, and now it's like a main center of other activities around. Let's say, Levente, I think I'm not bluffing if I say that there is no cultural thing or artistic thing, event in Liébana, in the region, that would take place that they don't count on us.
Can I ask you a few questions? Because we would like to exchange some of the good practices that we experienced when we were very warmly welcomed in your country. And something that came very strongly is obviously your role as a mediator, as a linking pin between the community, being the citizens, being the businesses, as well as the authorities, the public authorities. And for us, what came out as very a good example is independently of the institution, is your role yourself as doing this. And I want to ask you, what was, in your view, central to the success of your activities? Because we could feel there was a lot of support from the businesses, from the public authorities, from the citizens on what you were doing. So how do you achieve this? I think this is an important lesson for those that are listening to us.
Okay, I see. I'll try to answer in the best way. To me, to be honest, is respecting everybody in its ground, in his or her ground. Let's say, if you're gonna establish an activity, if you want to create an activity, you need people. You're gonna count on people. You're working for people. Then you have to count, most of all, with these people. Then, if you go to the monastery, you have to respect the way. Sorry, something is
going from the grassroots.
I'm okay. Yeah, sorry. Again, technology. Let's say when we work with when we want to contact the Franciscans, you have to think as a Franciscan. You cannot come and impose and establish nor your rhythm, nor your own ideas. You have to first listen to that person or group of people, and then this applies to every sort of association. Then giving yourself, offering yourself what you have to others, it's really nice in a sense that we are, to me, we are as community interlinked, you know, so you need others to develop your own activities, and you need to be aware of these things. So every person that you contact, you can say, here we are, what can we do for you? And then listen to them. And then you experience there that when we didn't have one thing, they had it for us, and we are there for them as well.
And how did you create this appetite for, you know, developing activities with culture and cultural heritage? Was the appetite already there, or you have to create some kind of awareness on the importance of the culture, local cultural heritage?
We needed to create the appetite, because we know that this is not talking about Ronaldo or Messi or the World Cup that we are all aware of these days, right? This is something that goes like you don't. My advice is, don't go in a hurry, but be constant. then you need to showcase to rural areas, to places like ours, you need to demonstrate to them how important it is from the identity point of view to stand up for your historical buildings and traditions. Then they have to see that they belong to Europe as well as people in the city. Let's say it's getting the citizens in rural areas and saying, your reality is not alone. Your reality can be shared with other people in Italy, in Lithuania, in Brussels. It's not about cities. It's about people living in cities or in rural areas. When you get them to think like that, they start to feel more, I don't know the word, Levente, it's like more proud of that this can be with them. You know, it's like making them feel the sense of Europe from the very first day in front of your own houses. Not need to go to Madrid or Barcelona to hear about Europe, to be Europe, a part of Europe. So these activities, these projects in networks in Europe showcase them.
Actually, during the visit, you introduced us to the fact that you were trying yourself, because the region Cantabria is quite isolated region, not close to any easy access, not so easily accessible, and you made the effort actually to link up with some network, with some association. I think there is an association of religious heritage you are part of. Why do you think this is important to network at European level?
Because it shows you your mates. It shows that your reality can be the same Levente, than in any other place in Europe. And it's not just one, it can be many. Then the sense of belonging grows up like sharing. It's about sharing knowledge and sharing circumstances and learning from each other. That's why these peer learning visits, when we read the title, it was like, wow, you know, because it really explains in itself what we are all about. Then with all different peers in the network of FRH, you get to know more cases. You can get together, discuss things, and get to participate in a project. And then you have like, it's this sense of belonging, the European belonging.
Okay.
It's very big. To be honest, now that we are here amongst friends, to be honest, this probably would have been the strongest, how do you say, Javier, el argumento más fuerte.
Probably
strongest argument.
The strongest argument.
Yeah, and then to see, if you think of it, Levente, when you went away, we shared a lot of knowledge, we shared a lot of things, we learned from you, we offered what we had humbly, but then after you went, people in the street came to me saying, so it was all well. Were they happy? Yes. So, and which countries they came from? So it's like, for them, it's like, this is working. It's not persons talking from Potes or Liébana, but you stayed in the ground. They saw you. And
okay. Pilar, we are running a bit late now, and normally we are open to question and answer. So I will open the floor to intervention. I see your hands raised here. I see Levente wants to speak. So Levente, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Philip. And I feel that I have to jump in. I heard my name several times. So thanks, Pilar, for remembering us. And we also remember to the visit with a lot of really warm feelings. So I have two combined questions. As that you mentioned a lot about how you engage, different actors in the valley for cultural activities, but you were working a lot on building a shared identity for the bigger Liébana Valley, and also connecting companies of all kinds of companies, and also building these brands, local brands. So if you can tell a little bit about this. And the other question related to this, but maybe we'll run out of time for this, is a little bit, what makes you different from a municipal agency or a regional office? So Centro de Estudios Lebanegos has a very specific agency and a very specific way to build all these projects that you mentioned. So what are the characteristics that make you special?
I will answer, Levente, if you allow me. I will answer the latest one, and then I will try to answer the other. To me, what makes us special, Javier probably would agree with me, is that we are culture. We are culture. That's all. We don't pretend that we are anything else. We don't want to impose anything. We are like open to everyone, and we are from the government of Cantabria. We are not municipality, so all the municipalities are welcome. The same. When we reach out to every mayor, it doesn't matter if the municipality is like, I don't know, 500 inhabitants or 2,000. We don't mind. It's like we treat everybody as responsible of their territory and their citizens. Then they all feel, it's not important because they all are important, we all are important, but they all feel respected again, and that they all feel like welcome, that they count the same that the others. And then this is when you have the person really collaborating or cooperating with you. They all were delighted. And the mayor that you saw that was talking to all of us, he immediately, a week later, was spreading his news with other mayors. And then he's explaining them the things from his own reality, which is not yours or ours. Then it's like peers, you know what I mean? It's like this thing. As for the, sorry, the other question, could you repeat?
Yes,
it's
about
the networking activity you do to build a shared narrative and shared identity in the valley.
Because shared identity, because imagine that you live in a magnificent, dramatic nature. Everybody was thinking about nature, but then you come out saying, look, nature is okay, but then don't forget about your own historical buildings that belong to your ancestors. And they are unique. They are like assets to be shown to visitors that are interested also in culture. You have more to bring in to the plate than not just nature. This took a bit of a while, to be honest, but then the strong tradition, religious tradition, was like, how would I say it? Like a separate department inside the head of the inside your mind, as if you would have departments. Okay, then now this is nature and tourism and so on, and this is religious heritage, religion. No, we brought them in to say, okay, religion is part of culture because it talks about identity, it talks about traditions, it talks about ourselves from amazing amount of time. And then when they start to dissociate between religion and religious heritage, I know that it sounds a bit strong, maybe. Jose, I see your face now. It's because my phone is working now and I start to see familiar faces. Hi, and Annabelle as well. Then I was saying, when they dissociate, they understand that, okay, this is my religion, but I might be religious or not. Doesn't matter if I have to take care of this old building that belongs, and it's a part of a marker of the landscape as well as a mountain, right? So this took a bit of an effort, but then it worked really much.
Thanks, Pilar. Any other questions, in particular from people that didn't come to Cantabria and have questions to ask? Maybe I could add also that the center was created, if I remember correctly, 2007. The running budget is around 200,000 euro a year, and there is some funding from the at EU level. But I'm sure there are questions from people that want to know more from Pilar or from Javier. An intervention or sharing of experience similar in similar circumstances, or linking to rural heritage, or making the most of rural areas, dispersed habitats?
I wanted to say how grateful I was to have the opportunity to attend this, and it was an amazing experience. I'm in a rural area, and we have a lot of challenges, but we have a lot of strengths. And not only meeting the people in Cantabria, but also the other people sharing similar efforts and work on these things. And so I came back with fire in my belly. And we do have a lot of work to do, but just one little lecture I did, we got 10,000 euro pledged 6,000 which has come in for a project to restore our mill wheel to generate our own electricity. So hopefully more and more engagement and more can be done. So thank you so much for that opportunity, and it was wonderful meeting all of you.
And thank you, Anna, because you gave us a lot. I still remember, and we were discussing it afterwards with the apiculturers about your contribution with the bees, and then these manuscripts, old manuscripts, even in our own country that we didn't know. So, well, yeah, I saw you in YouTube several times, by the way, your thing.
Great. Any other question? Thanks, Anna, for your intervention. Well, then I thank Pilar, I thank Javier for your intervention. Thank you very much. We wish you all well. I'm giving now the floor for the next step in our afternoon to Jose. Okay. Jose, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Pilar, Javier. Many thanks for sharing with us.
Jose.
Hi, Pilar. Thank you so much for sharing how you have faced these challenges in managing cultural heritage properties and elements in the Cantabria region. I really appreciate when you say learning from each other, and also how you create spaces of participation in cultural heritage management. I think that is very important. And now let's move on to our next speaker from Croatia, Andrea Nakic, who's going to talk about reuse, management, and financing cultural heritage sites, specifically in the case of the fortress of Šibenik in Croatia. Well, he graduated from the Department of Archaeology at the University of Zadar in 2011. In the following years, Andrea worked for several archaeological companies and institutions, and between 2019 to 2021, worked as a supervisor in the renovation of the Saint Ivan Fortress. So, Andrea, hi, welcome, and thank you so much for being with us today. If you are ready, the floor is yours, okay?
Good day to everyone. Those who don't know me, my name is Andrea Nakic, Heritage Research and Interpretation Department. And today I will briefly introduce to you my institution, Fortress of Culture Šibenik, as one of the best examples of the good practice in managing in cultural heritage. So please, you can move the slide. Okay, our history. The story of the institution begins in 2014, when the Department for the Management of Fortification was established within the Šibenik City Museum. And because of the city's future plans for the renovation of other fortresses in Šibenik, in 2016, they established the public institution in culture, Fortress of Culture Šibenik. Next, please. So this is, now I will tell you something about our sites and spaces. In 2014, the revitalization project of St. Michael Fortress was completed. The project of the Fortress of St. Michael's was financed by European Regional Development Fund, slightly more than 1.6 million euros, with the fact that the city participated with a little more than €500,000. Partners on that project were City of Šibenik, Croatian National Theatre in Šibenik, Šibenik City Museum, and the Šibenik Tourist Board. In 2016, the Barane Fortress was opened, financed also by European Regional Development Fund, little less than 1 million euros, and the rest was paid by the city of Šibenik. In 2021, the Arts and Art House was opened, financed by Ministry of Culture of the Republic of Croatia, and also with the money of the city of Šibenik. And finally, this year, the revitalization project was ended of our latest and largest fortress, St. John's Fortress, which is cost around 6.5 million euros. And now I will briefly show you our location. So first, this is the St. Michael's Fortress. It's basically symbol of our city. There is a lot of stuff to do on that fortress. You have 3D mapping, multimedia audio guide, VR cabins now we put for this season, and there is open space where you have more than 1,000 seats, and we have some concerts and lots of other stuff. Second one is, you can move please, is Barone Fortress. Barone Fortress from 17th century fortress, also like St. John Fortress. You have augmented reality, lots of food, lots of drinks, lots of good times. We have some educational program on the Barone Fortress. I will tell you about that later. You can move on, please. This is our last fortress, St. John Fortress. It's big fortress with the campus more than 1,007 square meters, 14 bedrooms with 52 beds, 3 classrooms, and it is last and the largest fortress in Šibenik, also from 17th century. And now I will tell you something about organization structures and the human. I forget the arson. Arson is a unique cinema because you have modular floor, so it can be like cinema. It can be for some other programs. It can be transformed to concert hall or art cinema. You can bring it like a lecture and a workshop space and etc. Further, please. Okay, this is organization structure and human resources. First is our director. Then, except accounting and secretarial departments, we have 6 other departments. First is heritage and research departments. That's where I am. Project and cooperation, program production, tourism and sales, marketing and PR, and technical operation. Next, please. So, who are we talking to? This is our target audiences. On the first place, I put local population. Why local population? I bold this on purpose because it's very important for us to have strong connection with the local population. Then we have a general public, cultural and tourism institution, travel and agencies, tour guides and their associations, accommodations providers, event organizations, arts and performances, and media. Next, please. So when I said local population, it refers to attenders to a local cultural events, artists, cultural workers, school kids, especially, for example, we have several education and workshops for the school age called My Fortress of Knowledge, where the school children learn about the history of their city. Then the cultural and educational institutions like such as universities or etc., and the cultural and non-government organization. Numbers of events from 2014 to 2021. These are the numbers of the cultural events in our location through the year. The increase of the programs we organize, you can see on this graph. I need to say that these numbers refers only to the larger events. For example, only House of Arson alone organized 200 programs last year. 200 programs, just arson, and this is numbers of just big, larger events. In arson, we have film presentations, concerts, children's plays, dance performances, and etc. Next, please. So this is the numbers of visitors. On this slide, you can see the increase of the numbers of our guests. since the Fort Michael's was opened in 2014. The record was 2018 with more than 200,000 visitors. You can also see the drop during the Corona crisis. We don't have a data for this year yet, but we are somewhere between 115 and 200,000 visitors, something like that. So this is number of income. Number of income for past years. You can see that the last year we had the most income, about 2 million euros. And when we analyze it, next please. So this is income by source of financing before Corona crisis and during and after Corona crisis. You can see that institution income together with EU funds and donation exceeds over 80% of our income during from 2016 and 2020. During the Corona, decreasing our own income, the financing by the city increases, but also use the EU funds increases. Except the Corona crisis, this graph is affected by the new employment in the institutions. And since we have the Fortress St. John's, our largest and most demanding facility. Next, please. So this is amount that the city invests in our institution. And you can see the financing through the EU funds. So far, we participated in 6 EU funds. The last project was IMO Undergrounds, more than 20,000 euros. Then Project Fortitude, we were a lead partner, more than €500,000, connecting cinemas, 72,000 euros. And now currently we are making several new projects. Next, please. This is our economic activity. This graph here, economic activity, it means the data about income through the economic activities is like trade. We have souvenir shops. We have large scale of souvenirs, very original souvenirs, catering, coffee bars, bistros, and venue rentals through the events or to agencies. And our goal is to increase visibility, encourage small and medium interpreters and cultural and creative industries. As you can see, only on the tickets to 1 year, we earn more than 1 million euros. Next, please. So this is the Fortress briefly. So more than 200,000 visitors per year, open almost the whole year, more than 15 cultural events during the year. I said maybe 500 programs, I don't know precisely. Outgoing educational program for children, my Fortress of Knowledge, I already mentioned that. Approximately 4,000 members of the Šibenik Fortress Friends Club. It is a loyalty program, a special program. If you are a member, for example, you can have discounts for souvenirs or tickets, or some tickets for some events are free. For example, also you can vote what archaeological site we will conduct in archaeological excavation, or etc. What else? Then more than 200 media releases per year. 50 employees before Corona and St. John Fortress, I think maybe about 30 people. EU funded projects implemented with 6 projects, total project a little less than 2 million euros, and cooperation with NGO and the private sector. 30 professional awards and recognition, and financial self-sustainability. It's very important for us, but you already saw what is the damage during the Corona crisis. And strategic goals for the next 3 years is systematic research of fortification heritage. We already, me and my colleague Josip Pavic, wrote several scientific papers, several exhibitions. Now we are conducting some area scanning, some fortresses with the LIDAR technology. We are researching World War II bunkers, some other fortification for the 20th century. We already have some plans for the bunkers also. Strengthening cultural and creative industries in Croatia, expanding and strengthening public interest in culture, promotion of activities on the national and international level, something like this, and the human and financial capacity development. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I think we were already impressed by the Šibenik fortresses when we were in Cantabria, and I think now we know even more, and we're even more impressed. I would like to give the floor to anyone who has a question at this point, but of course I can also start it, but I would be really happy if we could have a little bit of a discussion. So maybe my question that I would start with is about the fortress as an asset or as a liability. No, I know a lot of places that have a huge fortress. It's seen as a great asset, and they invest all the money in the world, and it's just too big for many small towns. So what makes, like, you have many fortresses, no? Was it already a very thriving cultural city, Šibenik, and you just had to open channel some of these activities into the fortress, or the fortresses themselves actually generated a lot of new activities? How do you see this yourself?
Difficult question, because story Šibenik is something like this. So during the war, all the big firm in our city collapsed, and Šibenik. When we look to Šibenik today, cultural heritage or our fortresses reverse that bad picture of the city, and today everybody know about the Šibenik through the fortress, through our fortresses or to our cultural heritage. So we are one of the best examples here, not just in Croatia, maybe in this part of the Europe. I know when I was in Zadar 15 years ago, before this story about the fortress, and when I say I'm from Šibenik, you are from Šibenik. But now the opinion is changed. Many people from other parts of Croatia coming to the Šibenik, they are going to our fortresses. There's a program going on through the whole year. So local peoples also see what is the best part of all that we do. And I already said that about 4,000 people in Šibenik is engaged in this story because they we have that loyalty program club. So they are recognized the part, the role of the fortresses for all community.
Thanks a lot, Andrea. And I see a lot of hands. Everybody's eager to ask questions. Okay. But no, well, not yet, but I hope they will raise hands. But I would jump in with another question. Maybe then we can move on, because we're running a bit late, and come back to you and speak together with Anna.
Okay, I'm here.
But I have another question still, the same thing that I asked from Pilar, that you're not a municipality, but you're a public kind of institution. You're not specifically, well, you're kind of a museum, between a museum and a research center and a knowledge institution, no? So what is, again, specific in the way you can act to manage to valorize these buildings? No, what makes you different from a municipal department or a classical museum or a state department? What makes you maybe more flexible, more maybe better connected to your audience?
I don't know the answer to that question because I'm relatively new in this firm. But when I know about this firm many years ago, but I think the answer is that city we have our own policy, and the city policies don't affect us so much, don't affect us strongly, because of course cities are biggest partner, but they saw that we are doing good job, so as we are good, they are leave us alone, if you understand what I mean.
So you have some kind of autonomy that allows you to act. You don't
Yes,
have to
because
wait for the permission for everything.
We have a good results, yes, and that's the reason why they don't. How I say?
They don't over control you and your activities.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot, Andrea. I invite everyone to, you didn't lose all your chance to ask questions to Andrea. We'll come back after Annabella's presentation and have a joint discussion. So we'll be able to come back to these questions, but I'll give it back now to Jose.
Okay, thank you so much, Andrea. Well, now it's a great pleasure for me to introduce our next speaker from Portugal, Anabela Cairo, who's going to talk about regional scale rural areas and community participation, specifically in the case of safeguarding of Cante Alentejano, or the Alentejo way of singing. This is a traditional sing inscribed on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity, UNESCO 2014. Well, she has experience in the area of adult education and training. In 2013, she started working in the city of Council Reguengos de Montserrat in the area of cultural, intangible heritage and territorial promotion. Today, Anabela is a project manager in the Department of Development and Cooperation in the Regional Development Agency of Alentejo. Anabela, thank you so much. Welcome. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I would like to thank you very much for inviting me to talk about something I really, really love. So I will try to put my presentation with videos because I cannot speak about Cante Alentejano without a video. So let's see if it is possible. But first, I want to talk a little bit of Alentejo. Alentejo, it's 1/3 of the territory of Portugal. But we have only 5% of the people from Portugal. So we have a lot of landscape, but we are few people. And we are a rural area. So mostly we live, our economy is agriculture. And the Cante, the way of thinking, can show you this. So let's try.
Okay. Yeah.
Estou indo vir a tara cheifeira, ver as mondadeiras no campo a sorrir. Trigueira de raça, quem te fez assim?
So this is the Alentejo group of men's, but you can find groups only by men's, only by women's, or a mixed group. But some years ago, this tradition started with the working in the field. Like you can see many workers on the field, and they singing because it's easy to work when you are singing. So all of these things talk about how strong is the work in the field, how difficult it is. Talk about the sun, because we have a lot, the summer is very hot in Portugal and they are working in the field. All these modas we call modas is the letters of the songs, talking about the works in the fields. And it's very important because the canto alentejano was passed down from generation to generation. The youngest learn how to work in the field and learned also how to sing Alentejo songs. And if you see, there are also women's work, and mostly the women's song about religion songs. Also about the how to work in the fields, but religion songs. You can see this video here, just a little bit to see the Alentejo. Some years ago, this video was collected by Michel Giacometti. It's an Italian guy who dedicated his life to collect the repertoire of Portuguese songs. In this video, you can see the works in the fields and the difficulty of these works and why they, I put a little bit, this, you see, they are working the fields, it's very, very hard, and they sing a song. So this passing, the passing of the years, this forms, sorry, I'm going to stop this. The passing of the years, this way of singing became associated to the work in the field and to the difficult life, to the rurality and to poverty. So nobody wants to sing these songs in Alentejo, because singing this it means that you are poor, that you live in the countryside, that you are a worker, a field worker, so in agriculture worker. So no one wants to sing the Alentejo songs. And also, this is very important about the mechanization. The mechanization changed the whole panorama, because we have less people in the works to field. But I have to say also, you can find the canto alentejano in the fields, but also in the cafes, in the tabernas. I think you know what I mean. In the end of the days, the groups of the men go to the cafe and they drink a glass of wine and they start to sing spontaneously. So it's a kind of canto alentejano. So at this moment, we have a huge problem, because the groups of singing are composed of very old people, and the transmission of the cant was at risk. But, okay, the big changes happened on the 27th of November, so yesterday makes 8 years. When the Intergovernmental Committee of the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage voted unanimously for the inclusion of canto alentejano on the list of Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. This recognition by UNESCO changed the whole panorama of canto alentejano. And the next years, we can see all these changes. And you can see this is Pedro Mestre. It's a teacher for Alentejo songs. So sorry, because it's... So what you can see, it's at this moment, in all of the Alentejo schools, you can find a teacher to teach the young generation to learn how to sing Alentejo cant. And the city halls have a very important role because they pay for this teacher to have classes with the young generations. So the way of see the cant is completely changed. The UNESCO recognition and the teaching of the cant, all this make young people proud of the cant and as the metrics of their identity. So at this moment, you can see young people singing cant, not just the old men, but the young people singing cant alentejano with pride. I don't know. I think
Pride. Mm-hmm.
pride. Sorry. So I think this is very nice because they are in Paris and they want to show the cant alentejano. So this for me, this is it's very important, and I think you can see my eyes are shining at this moment because I never saw I can see something like that, because for many years we are fighting for don't lose the cant alentejano. We are fight against the because we don't have no one to learn, and at this moment you can see young people sing cant alentejano. Even when they go to Paris, they are very proud to sing this cant alentejano. And a lot of young groups at this moment can perform in parties, in the streets, and the most important, they do it spontaneously when they are with the friends. If we go to a dinner, at the end of the dinner, all of young people, older people, we are all together sing Alentejo cant. And the other image is also important because you can see in the guy in the middle is one of the most important singers in Portugal, António Zambujo. And the songs of António Zambujo mostly became from the cant alentejano. So at this moment we have the cant just not in Alentejo, just not in with our youngest people, but also in the television and with the very important personalities. And it is very important too because of the women's, because the women's go to the parties and with the group, and because we are a rural area and the women's here sometimes they are in the shadow of the men's. So it is a huge opportunity for these women to go outside, to go in a party, because they have to sing cant alentejano. So that was a shame a few years ago, as became a reason for pride and territorial cohesion. Because when we talk about a cant alentejano, we talk about our identity, we talk about our region. Everyone recognize this is something became to us. So it is recognized as a cant unity, like a unity, a part of our cultural identity. To finish, I leave a little video from Sergio Truffaut, which talk a little bit from the Alentejo cant. Okay.
Que a vida Começas sozinho, engraçado. Vamos lá sim.
Vamos lá saindo por esses campos fora.
Os lados da aurora, nos lados da aurora, Jamaica vem vindo por esta hora. Vamos lá sair.
Okay, so when the singers stop to song, they say "Vamos lá saindo, vamos lá embora." So it means that it's finished. We stop to sing. So I finished the same way. Vamos lá saindo, vamos lá embora. And thank you very much for your attention. And I'm very happy to share with you in these days, because yesterday was a very important day for us. In all the places, everyone cant Alentejano. Yesterday, until very late, everyone was singing. So thank you very much for having my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Annabella, and let's have a belated happy birthday to Cantel and Tajena.
Thank you.
And I'm really glad the video worked, because this actually would have been much more difficult to imagine. So we have about 10 minutes left for this discussion. So I invite everyone to comment and ask questions on this. But before opening it up, I would like to ask one thing from Annabella, that the way you told us the story, it's like a beautiful fairy tale. You know, there's a song or a way of singing that is disappearing. There's some researchers that start documenting it, and it is brought back into consciousness. But we would like to know, because we are many organizations that are dealing with also heritage, saving heritage, tangible, intangible heritage. Again, what are the different kinds of actors who participated in this process now, besides the researcher who was there, besides some of the people that still remembered and kept on singing in the Alentejo way? What is your role, for example, as a regional authority? What maybe other schools and different kinds of organizations play? Who promoted the way of singing to the UNESCO World Heritage Prize? So who were active in saving and promoting the Cantabria?
That was possible only because this starts with one municipality, Serpa, which is in the sound of Alentejo. Because in Serpa, they have a lot of groups, and they start the process. And they call other municipalities from the Baixo Alentejo. And then they say, no, this is not just of us. We have to mix all Alentejo. So all the municipalities from the whole region of Alentejo make a commitment letter and work in the investigation. So every municipalities have to say how many groups they have, the story of the groups, get collected with the whole songs. Then, so we have first the municipalities, then we have the regional entity of Alentejo. So because we don't have regions, but we have some one institution which is something like in Spain, Mancomunidades, which is a representative of the region. They came into. After that, came into also the entity of Turismo de Portugal Tourism Institute. So they came into, but we missed the groups. So they have to make a letter for every groups. The municipalities have give us a list. They write to all of the groups in Alentejo and explain what we are doing, and if they think this is important for them, and they make fill a questionnaire. Everyone answer, and the answer was 100%. Yes, of course, this is very important for us because we have no singers. We are losing that. So they became also in the group. So in the end, the images that I finished my presentation, it's a huge group of Alentejo person. That was in the day in the UNESCO, they decide to give okay for this. In Lisbon, there are 100 of persons from Alentejo singing the Alentejo cant. This is just possible because all municipalities with the bus take the whole groups from the Cante Alentejano to Lisbon, the schools, and everyone was involved in this process. Because I think we have a lot of things. You can see this is my entity like Alentejana. This is my identity like someone from Alentejo. But someone, it's okay for another, it's not okay. But when you talk about cante, everyone say, yes, this is my identity. So I think we have a very rough, a difficult way, but at the end, it works very, very nice, just because we can work all together, private, public, and of course, association and the singing groups.
I have a question, Annabella. The 2003 Convention for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage recommends fostering the creation or strengthening of institutions of training. And I would like to know, for example, if the university are part of these institutions, and if yes, how they contribute in the safeguarding of the Cante Alentejano.
So the university, they contribute with studies, because at this moment you can find a lot of post-graduation. I don't know if you say like this, if you are graduate and you make some post-graduation about the intangible heritage. And a lot of them, they talk about Cante Alentejano. Also, the teacher from the University of Évora, Porto Alegre, Beja, which is the university from Alentejo, they work with investigation. And at this moment, we have schools, high schools and the children's schools teaching Cante Alentejano, but you can do a master with Cante Alentejano in the University of Évora in the Department of Music. So this is the way they find to help the Cante Alentejano. And because we have to the plan of safeguard plan, we have to do all these things. So we are doing, I think.
Okay, and now I have another question. Well, today we talk about the social inclusion, gender equality, aspect that I consider, of course, very important in the heritage sustainability. But I want to know if, I don't know if it's correct to say people with disabilities, I'm not sure. I would like to know if people with disabilities and the LGBTIQ plus community are involved in the safeguarding of the Alentejo way of singing.
I'm going to be completely honest. This is the groups are mostly old people. You have all already young. If you are talking about these guys, they are in Paris. I don't care if you are gay, LGBT, whatever. No one's care about. It's not a subject. But if you want to sing with the groups of older people, maybe they don't even talk about it. So they are not discriminated, but we don't talk about that, because the teacher you see there, it's the teacher from the young people, but he's also a teacher from the oldest. He's gay. But he don't talk about this when this old man. So it's not a subject for them. They don't want to know. They don't want to know. It's okay like that. With the young generation, this is not a problem. It's even a subject.
Okay, thank you.
We have a few minutes for one or maximum two questions left. So this is the opportunity for everyone to throw your questions in the discussion. But until we're waiting for one question, I have one that I would like to link the Alentejo experience also with Šibenik. Obviously in Alentejo, to make a song or a way of singing survive, you have to engage younger people, no? So you mentioned that you're doing this through schools. But I'm wondering if this is really, it makes it attractive if something goes through the schools and municipalities and, you know, all these official ways. And the same question to Andrea, that I remarked that your target group was 25, 45 years. And me being 43 years old, I'm afraid that soon I'll be out of your target group, so I have to go there very quickly. But again, the question is, how do you reach younger people? Because mostly, I guess, Fortress as such, as a part of history, talks to older people. But again, we are talking about, you know, smaller towns with probably important challenge of brain drain. So how you guys in both cases engage with younger people? What are your ways? Maybe through the school, but maybe even more in Alentejo and in Šibenik. How do you engage those people you want to reach?
We are in the rural areas. We don't have a lot of things to do for the young people. So when the schools talk about have lessons from Canto Alentejano, this is a huge party for the young children. So it's easy to engage these young children. And because at the end of the year, they have some presentation and huge party to show the parents what they are learning. So at this moment, I think the main difficult is to find teachers, so many teachers to teach that young people. But from until this moment, it's easy to engage the school to participate on that. Yes, I think so.
Thank you, Annabella. Andrea.
We have a program production, and I believe they are targeting artists for the target people from 21 to 45 people. That's my opinion. But we are open for all people. Of course, you can visit. We are not just some playground for the young people. There is lots of stuff to do on the fortress, not just in the fortress, in the city, for our older guests or for younger guests. I already told you about my fortress of knowledge that is specifically for the younger people. Also, there is some programs for also and older people. We have some like on Fortress of Barone. We have like some evenings with the films and some old films, so older people came to visit our fortress. We have some I forgot the word on English language. Sorry, my English is not the best. We have some artists for the younger generation. So yes, we have our program production, and they are targeting our artists for some targets. Yes. I hope you understand what I'm trying to
absolutely, yes.
say.
I would be happy to go more into details and discuss with you for hours, but unfortunately, again, we underestimated the amount of things we wanted to discuss with you. So I'm afraid that we have to close it here, but I'm sure there will be a continuation and we can go even deeper into some of these cases. So thank you very much, Annabella. Thank you very much, Andrea, for being here with us and answering our questions, showing us more in detail your great projects. And I would like to give it over to Francesca Pozzebon from ERIN, who will institutionally greet you and close this session. Francesca.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Levente. So I see that we only have a few minutes. So since we are approaching the end of the meeting, I want to thank you all again for being here. It was very nice to see you again after the visit and to have the chance to discuss again the key challenges and opportunities from the Cantabria visit, and hear from Pilar and Javier on the key challenges and the success sectors of the management of heritage from a regional perspective. We also had the chance to hear more about some other very different cases, like the Sivenic Fortress on tangible heritage and the Canto Alentejano, a very intangible example, but with still key challenges and common thread that we can take inspiration from. And so for the last minute, I will give it over to Clementine for the next steps on the project and the next appointments and in the agenda.
Thanks a lot, Francesca. Thanks everyone for the presentations, for your contribution. I think we can feel a bit of the great spirit that you had during the visit in Cantabria in this meeting, and it's very nice for a grey afternoon in Brussels to hear these stories, and also the impact that the project has had locally and how it was perceived by the communities. I think it's very important for us to be able to create this kind of meeting points. So talking about this for the next steps, and as I think that most of the people who are here in the meeting were also in the visit, we're going to have a monitoring session where you'll be able to report a bit on what you've been doing since the visit, if you've had any plans, how you've progressed with these plans, and if there are any collaboration opportunities that you would like to continue explore with the people who were present at the visit. So you may know that our project Cultural Heritage in Action is also going towards its conclusion in January. So by this time, we'll update a number of publications that you'll be able to find on our website. The report from the visit in Cantabria is already on the website, and I will share the link with you, as well as the recording of this session. Thanks a lot for your attention. We look forward to seeing you at the monitoring session and to engage online. If you have any questions or follow-up, don't hesitate to reach out to us at Cultural Heritage in Action. Thanks a lot to the experts and the project team.